It's a sunny day, it's warm, you're in sports gear, you've been training, working out. What was going through your mind while you were doing your workout today?
Longevity was going through my mind. Father of 2 sons, I've got to set an example and I've got to stay fit for them growing up. So that's my main thoughts.
That's a big driving
Yeah,
force.
most definitely.
And it was also very positive.
Yeah, for real. They're active and they keep me on my toes, so I'm just trying to keep up at the same time. So, yeah.
So how old are the kids?
5 and 3.
5 and 3.
Yeah.
That's a kind of like a crazy stage where anything goes,
Exactly.
and all thoughts are open, and
Yep.
there's no boundaries and there's no reason. It's just fun.
Exactly that. So, I'm 28 now, approaching 30. 30's around the corner. So, I want to feel like I'm 21 at 40, 50, 60. So you got to keep moving.
Is this something that you've always done? Have you always been someone who's kept fit, or is this something you've come to at a certain point and you're like, now I need to do this?
So growing up, I did play football. Once I stopped football, I needed to fill the void. So when I went to university, got in the gym, got qualified as a personal trainer. And when COVID hit, I had my first son. And what that done, it slowed a lot of things down, and it made me realize that the joints, the lower back, all these things I have to focus on. I have to focus on my functional strength for longevity, and that's the stage I'm at in my life at the moment.
So there's a professional knowledge
Yes.
behind all of this.
Exactly.
As a trained personal trainer, you understand the physics of the body.
Yep.
You understand a lot of the information that most of us don't have. We just like, I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling like energetic, or I've got an ache and a pain. But you've got like the map in your head.
Exactly. One of my jobs that I worked at last year, I worked in private healthcare for Bupa, and I used to see a lot of corporate professionals come in and tell me like there's certain lifestyles, stresses, and it really opened my eyes to that health is one of the biggest things in life. Without your health, everything else becomes harder. When you have your health, it eases other things around the board or across the board. So, yeah.
There was a saying I heard someone say recently. What was it? When you've got your health,
Mm-hmm.
you've got lots of requests, or you've got lots of things you want to do in life. When you haven't got your health, you've only got one thing you want in
Exactly.
your life, and that's your health back.
Yeah,
It's something we take for granted,
most definitely.
and then. But so you're kind of future-proofing.
Yeah.
You're hoping.
Yeah, exactly. You got the best time to start is now, I would say. If you leave it for tomorrow, that tomorrow will become next week, that next week will become next month, and that next month will become next year. So you got to get started.
Now, you're working out today. It's a lovely day.
Yes.
When it's a cold day and it's grim, and maybe you've got like an ache or a pain, are you pretty good at motivating yourself? Would you sometimes go, not today?
No, for me, I believe there's a way to tackle every situation. If it's rainy outdoors, get the right gear. Rain jackets. I got a thermal on today. Get a thermal out. Get your snood on, per se. Like, we can always sit around and make excuses, but those excuses don't make the troubles any better. So it's just about having that mental strength to keep going.
Now, the mental strength
Yes,
is not something you're born with.
it's not.
It's something that kind of comes through experience.
Exactly.
I'd say most of us have like a wavering idea of mental strength. We've got mental strength in certain areas of our life, but we haven't got mental strength in other areas. What's added to your mental strength in your life? What experiences and kind of life stuff have given you kind of like mental strength and determination to do this?
Being able to help my family out where I can. Parents aren't getting any younger. They need the kids to step in. I'm also a father now, so I got to make sure I'm there for as long as I can be for my little ones. And I guess the mental strength came from just getting out and doing things. As you do things, you learn along the way, and it doesn't become easier, but it becomes a lot more familiar and a lot more tolerable, I would say.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so once it's in the muscle memory,
Yeah,
it's less of a problem.
exactly that.
When you were growing up, did your parents kind of directly tell you about these kind of things, or was it something that you worked out just through the family life and how your family operated, and you're like, this is part of what we do?
I guess the foundations were my parents put me into an array of sports from young. My mum put me in swimming, father put me in football.
From what age?
From around, I think I started football around 6.
Yeah.
From around 6, so quite early on, and swimming from around 8. So I feel like just building those foundations gave me the belief that you start from a certain period where you can't do it, but along the way, you're able to do it. And it made me believe in myself a lot more during that period in my life.
I'm assuming when you're growing up and you're going through the strict training regime of any kind of sport, when you're properly training, there's also a point of rebellion.
Yes.
Especially when you're young and you're like, I want to go and smoke fags around the bike shed. I want to go out partying. I don't want to be locked into this, what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have that, or was that not part of it for you?
I feel like in sport in general, alongside the fitness, it also teaches you a lot of discipline. You're put in a situation where you're listening to someone else away from your parents. So to listen to someone else, you have to have that discipline, you have to have that respect, and I feel like it just builds that internal respect and that internal discipline, and it just follows you throughout life.
That's interesting. So actually having someone who's not a parent being in charge of the decisions is a positive thing, because I think a lot of parents probably want to try and be part of, because that's a parenting thing, you feel you want to be part of what your kids are doing.
Yes.
But actually it's important that they're not part of some things.
Yes, I would say you could be there to show them how to do certain things and give them the support, but at the end of the day, everyone's a professional at something. And sometimes you might just need to leave it to the professionals, and sometimes just step into the shadows and support from the background.
You've got a camera here.
Yes.
Oh, you had a camera.
It
was just on a tripod. We're actually by a set of steps. I didn't actually see what kind of exercise. Were you running up and down the steps?
Yes, I was.
Okay, that sounds really hard. I mean, you've got a huge green field in front of you, but the steps are important.
Yes, exactly. For longevity, I focus on explosiveness, strength training, and also mobility. So this is a bit of explosive work, which I try and fit in along the week.
Okay, so what is explosive work? Explain that to our listeners.
So explosive work can be plyometrics, it can be jumping, it could be getting off the mark quick. So if you're seeing a sprinter, their starts, that's the explosive work I'm looking for. Anything which you go from 0 to 100 quite quickly, I would say, opposed to something which is a bit more endurance based, which would be like a run across the field or like 5 laps around the field.
So what's the point of the explosive? Because I'm assuming that's good for some things like the heart, and it's good for kind of like building up muscle strength, but it's not, is it for everyone? Should everyone do explosive work?
Should everyone do explosive work? I believe if your goal is to still be able to, I think it's a good test for your muscle quality at the same time. It's a hard question. Explosive work.
I mean, you were a young man.
Yeah.
To me, you're a young man. I know you think that you're an old, you're getting old, but
still young, 28. Yeah, of course.
And it makes sense at your age. I'm not sure whether it makes sense at my age.
Yeah, of course. I would say, how old are you?
53.
53. So if I was to advise a 53-year-old, what I'd advise is mobility and strength training. Only 2 to 3 times a week. I know a lot of people are busy professionals, and creating a program, it could be push-pull legs, it could be upper-lower legs, which would be more suited to your daily schedules, and just maybe one day of endurance training, I would say.
And when you're doing the stairs up and down, what's in your mind as you're doing that? I'm assuming that there's targets, there's goals. Without that, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
There's the number of times you can do it. That you're hitting certain targets when you're doing it. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. So the goal would be preserve my youth, I would say.
I love that. I love this idea of preserving youth.
Preserve
you started
the
with
youth.
this.
Preserve the youth, because when I was, like I said, during the COVID period when I had my first son, it really clicked me in gear. When I'm complaining about back pain, getting out of bed, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And if you don't use it, you lose it. And I don't want to be stuck in a position where I'm a bit older now and the testosterone's lowered naturally. I'm not bothered. I haven't set certain standards already in my life to continue through.
What about the rest of your family?
Yeah.
Does your partner or wife, does she do the same? Does she have the same kind of approach to sport? Do the kids go, can we climb all over your dad and sort of, can you push us up with dad? Do we want to be part of your sport stuff? Or are you alone in the family doing this?
Kids are quite active. Their mother is also quite active. Obviously a bit harder when she's around the kids. But I do make time to create time for her to have that time to go out and exercise.
Well, that's important.
Yeah,
and that's interesting. So you kind of like make sure you kind of put a little space for her to do her own thing, because I think a lot of families don't manage that.
Yeah.
Or don't think about it or have time for it.
Sometimes it's just about planning on the weekend. Like for myself, I like planning out my week on a Sunday, and just by planning you can find pockets of space within the week where maybe you're doom scrolling or you're doing something else and you can fit in these things. So yeah.
So right now you've been doing your workout. What's the difference between how you feel before and after?
I feel accomplished. I feel like every day I try and get a physical winning, a mental winning and a spiritual winning. So this is my physical win for the day. So it's something ticked off.
Nice. Okay, so you've got a mental and a spiritual one still to go.
Yes.
Are they also as easy to achieve as going out and doing an exercise regime? Do they also fall into kind of like measurable brackets, or is that a slightly more vague thing?
So for the mental win, it's been achieved just getting up, having some imagery of how the day is going to be set out. The mental win was actually getting out here and then completing my physical win. The spiritual win would be at night time when I'm journaling and I'm just praying and doing stuff like that.
Okay, so I like the fact that you're setting it out in a way that's achievable, but it's also kind of like being quite in the present, in the now, just by setting out a regime. Is a mental win. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Thank you.
Because I think a lot of us would kind of go, I don't know, I need to do something very out of the ordinary. But you're saying the ordinary actually works. If you put yourself in the right mindset, that's actually a win.
Exactly. It all aligns from the previous night with my spiritual win of praying that I actually get the things I need to get completed the next day, and then waking up, having the mental win, the imagery to get out. Then the physical win would just be to actually complete the task.
The journaling you talk about, what kind of thing, that's something that is used more and more in like everyday conversation. People talk about journaling. Like everyone's got a different version of what journaling is. What is journaling for you?
Journaling is the difficulties I faced through the day, certain stresses I felt throughout the day, what I'm grateful for, things which are getting better in my life, I would say.
Well, that's nice. That's a good one. That's because I think most of us are pretty hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we don't take the time to go, you did well there. That was good.
Yeah, most definitely. Each day always comes with its own trials and tribulations, but just by doing, you're taking a step closer to the goal which you're aiming for. It's not about getting somewhere through the fast track. It's about taking the smaller steps to reach the bigger goal.
Have you ever tried taking the big steps and the shortcuts?
Have I tried taking those type of steps? Probably at some point in my life. But I believe just by taking the smaller steps, you create a blueprint for yourself. You learn along the way. And by taking smaller steps, I feel like you build habits which stick.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I think we all are very good at having great thoughts about what we could do.
Yeah.
Versus what we actually do.
Of course, yeah.
And the journaling you do you handwrite it? Do you type it? Do you put it on your phone? Where does it actually go?
Handwritten. I feel like everyone has their own way of doing things. Some people are better at just typing it up, but I feel like writing it for me always works best. So you just have to do what you feel comfortable with and stick to that regime.
I like the idea of the handwritten because it kind of flows somehow.
Yes, exactly. I feel like if you're a great typer, like you're not having to look at the keyboard, go for it.
I'd love to be that kind of
You
typer.
understand?
I'm never going to be that type.
I'm kind of old school. When I'm writing now, I'm thinking at the same time, and it just flows a lot better that way.
Is it the same as a diary, or is it a different thing from a diary, a journal? Because it's kind of the understanding of a diary is I did this today and I did this. It's kind of like a factual thing, and maybe you can put some emotions too. But journaling seems to be taking it to a different kind of level.
Yeah, I would say for me personally, journaling is almost like a story from the day.
That's a nice thing. Yeah.
Some people, not everyone, might use diaries as more so to list down things. But yeah, I feel like I loved English growing up. So
right.
Just writing out my day in like almost a story where it flows. I can read it back, maybe not the next day, but in a month's time and see just how far I've come.
And how honest are you, TJ, with your journaling? Because I know that for myself, sometimes I might just miss out a couple of thoughts, because I just want to maybe brush them aside because they were troublesome. So are you pretty open about what you journal?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like it's something which is personal to you. So it's something where you can be open with, There's something which someone told me, well, one of the clients when I did work at Bupa, and how they said they deal with stresses is writing down everything in a journal, taking that journal, putting it outside their room, and then that gives them a relief to have a better sleep throughout the night. And
that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Because a lot of people, they struggle with sleep because they're stressed, or they're thinking, oh, what, I have to do this. I didn't get this completed today. I have to do this tomorrow. But just writing it down and putting it outside of the room, it's almost like
the physical act removes it.
Exactly.
That's nice. That unburdens you a bit.
Exactly.
Have you, and will you ever read your journal again, or is it just the act of putting it down, which is what it's about?
I think most definitely, maybe at the end of the year, I'll look through it again. I feel like it's almost your own story as well. It's almost like your own autobiography. So one day when you decide to go through it, or every 3 months when you decide to go back through it, you can see how far you've actually come.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the point of that. I've got some old, what I would call, well, maybe little journals from when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I've never read them again.
Yeah.
But I keep them because I know they're precious.
They're very precious.
You mentioned your spiritual side, and your faith.
Mm-hmm.
What role does that play in your life, and how would you kind of explain its presence in the everyday?
It keeps me grounded, I would say. I grew up in the church, and there's certain lessons or certain teachings which I've carried with me. One big one would be treat others how you'd like to be treated yourself. That's always stuck with me. So how I'd like to be treated, that's the energy I try to emit from myself to others. And yeah, sometimes when you have no one to speak to, I just speak to God. And because at the end of the day, I believe He can be your biggest friend, your comforter, your protector. And that just relieves me from certain stress and helps me understand again that certain things are seasons, and in that season be patient, in that season keep going, don't give up. Life is short, but it's also what you make it. And if you're constantly beating yourself down, or not believing in yourself, doubting yourself, it will continue. And I always preach self-belief. Like, first it's the motivation. Actually, first it's the belief in yourself. Second of all comes the motivation, discipline, and then everything else becomes second nature.
When you worked for Bupa, what did you learn from that experience? Because Bupa is a large corporate organisation.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I kind of roughly know what they do. What did you take away from it?
What I took away from it is life is precious. Life is precious. I was exposed to a lot of health conditions.
Of course, because all they deal
exactly.
with is people's ill health.
Exactly. People who are fit, people who are active. I met some guys who are doing crazy marathons at 45, ultra marathons, 50, 60-year-olds who are still fit. And it gave me like a spectrum. And what I realized is that health is just at the top of everything. Like I see people making loads of money, but their health isn't where they want it to be. Like you said, when your health isn't good, that's the only thing you think about. It doesn't matter if you have stresses here, stresses there. That health is still got. It's almost like you can't get that out of your head, and you need to fix that before you even address everything else. But I feel like once you have the health, not only do you have the mental strength to plow through those other problems, but you also have the physical capabilities to plow through those problems as well.
And our understanding of good health is if you're healthy in your body, it feeds into your mind, into your thoughts, and it's a refresher. I mean, if you got ill health, then it affects the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting point you made about doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how much money you make.
Yeah.
Because Bupa is connected with rich people, it's generally to do with the corporate world because it costs money. It's a private healthcare insurance, and I can imagine a lot of people who have Bupa cover are the more wealthy of society. But money can't get you health.
Money can't. It can't. And when people find themselves in serious problems, they're not even willing to spend that amount of money on their health at the same time. It's almost like it's too hard to comprehend. But they would rather spend it on other things, which is fine. But I feel like you don't even want to get to the stage where you need to spend thousands of pounds on your health. You just want to make the right steps every day to just secure your health, I would say.
I think there's a mindset about a chronic health condition that people get into, which is they live with it, because I think we're quite stoic as animals. Like many other sort of species, we kind of live with ill health in a way that we shouldn't, but we kind of get used to it. That's part of our strength, our adaptability. We adapt to a bad knee, we adapt to a bad back, and we live with it. But your mindset is very much kind of like, you don't have to live with it.
You don't have to live with it. For example, there was a point where my mum got carpal tunnel.
What's that?
Syndrome. So it's like when the nerves in the hand, they're not firing.
Okay.
So, for example, your hands can lock up, so your fingers can become tense.
Wow. Right, so they sort of scrunch up like a fist.
Exactly that. You become a lot more weak. And so she was calling me a lot more to just do things around the house and maybe cut some trees. Obviously, I'm the only boy in the house, so they're going to call me anyway. But it really makes you realize that we do age. We do age. And as you age, things become harder. Conditions become more common, I would say, especially if you're not working on yourself. So, yeah.
Because it's your mum.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close to home, and mums are precious, and you want to sort of protect her and give her advice, and you understand the physiology of it a bit.
Yeah, most definitely.
Is she a good patient with you? I mean, when you're saying, look, mum, if you do these things, or we can make it better to do this, that, and the other, is she like, yes, I'll do that, or is she like, don't worry, I'll be fine?
Yeah, I feel like it's more so they'll be fine. Like my dad's similar. My mum was type 2 diabetic, so that's what actually led to the carpal tunnel syndrome, just because of the damaging of the nerves. But you know,
So she lives with a health condition.
yeah,
How does she? Is she good with it?
she's very good on nutrition, I would say. That's how she's always dealt with it through life. Doesn't use much oil, doesn't use much sugar, has alternatives, and that's just been since I've been very young.
And in a way, it's interesting that her condition with type 2 diabetes
Mm-hmm.
probably feeds into your understanding of life, because you see how she looks after herself.
Exactly.
You see what she has to do to keep healthy, and you're
Exactly.
like, this is actually important in life.
Most definitely. You learn a lot from your parents. And I didn't understand it then, why we ate like that, because for me it was just normal. But as I learned the condition growing up, it made so much sense. And that's how she's been able to live with it for so many years. Because it's a big thing in her family. Like a lot of people have type 2 diabetes as well.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's something that you
genetic.
can inherit, right?
Most definitely.
But that's also it's an interesting thing when you get something which has nothing to do with your life
Mm-hmm.
or your decisions in life, but it's something that comes down to it's fate.
Yeah.
And that must also kind of like shape the way that you think about ill health, because some things just happen
Yeah.
and some things are within your control. You're definitely the latter. You're like, things are in my control. I'm going to do everything I can. Do you reckon your mum's type 2 diabetes kind of is part of the way you think also because you grew up with somebody who had to watch their health? Or is that, am I making a connection that's just not there?
The type 2 diabetes, because I didn't really understand it at that point, I didn't really think about it too much, but I guess just watching her stay active. When I'm going to swimming, she's up in the gym, she's doing the classes.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking, okay, mum's just going to a class, but you're not realizing why, or why she's cutting those things out of the house, why she's not buying certain sweets and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's it. So she is someone who has like also kept herself
Yeah,
active
she did.
and done exercise, and
Most
that's been part of her. What about your dad?
My dad's is like most dads. He's more so, I'll be fine. Like, I'll be fine. Like, don't worry. And I'm just like, Dad, come on, you got to do this. Like, to be fair,
But I'm sure you're going to be like that when you're older.
he always tells me, I'm like, nope, no, Dad. No, Dad. To be fair, I'm going to get him out for a walk today. I told him already. I'm like, Dad, we're getting out for a walk today.
Nice.
And I'm not taking no for an answer. And I know once I get round to it, he's going to moan and groan, but I'm just going to stand in front of him and be like, listen, let's get going. Let's get going. Let's get going, Dad.
Well, that's nice. You've obviously got a nice relationship
Yeah,
with him.
most definitely.
And when you have your walk, do you have like lots of comfortable silence, or do you put the world to rights? What kind of chat do you have with your dad when you're having walks?
Could be about anything. I feel like you can learn a lot from your parents. So it could be about experiences. It could be sometimes things I might be facing and asking for advice.
Are you quite kind of open that way? Like your parents are always quite good at like, we're ready for anything you throw at us. There's nothing off limits.
Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, sometimes you might keep some things to yourself because you don't want to stress them out at the same time, even though they're probably not feeling stressed. But you just want to build your own mental strength at the same time, because then again, parents aren't always going to be around, which is the sad truth about things. So you need to learn how to cope with certain things yourself at times.
And there's this interesting process going on now because you're a dad and you're thinking like a parent already at a different stage of parenting, and you're understanding the stresses and strains.
Yeah.
Because you always worry when you're a parent.
Yeah,
At
most
the end of every day, you're always like, I wish I'd done that better.
I see it all the time with my boys. I feel like as a parent, you're always adapting. If you feel like you've got everything locked down, then a lot of times things can go left. You have to learn your children on an individual level. No one's the same. So what works for one won't work for all. So you need to really connect. You really need to create like a safe space for them to come to you, speak to you about what they're facing, and just be there to comfort them and show them the way in terms of values. I feel like respect, integrity as they start to grow up, because these are things which they'll carry throughout their whole life.
So, something about the kids that you've got at age 5 and 3 is they're going to test the boundaries. They're not going to understand the rationale behind certain things, and you're going to repeat things hundreds, if not thousands, of times, and it's tiring.
It is.
And sometimes you're like, come on, how many times have I said this? Kind of like, this is important.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, and it's in one ear, out the other. It's funny sometimes, but it's incredibly frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say one of the funniest stories I had with my eldest. They love like running across the chairs, and to be fair, I get their kids, and you have to sometimes let them do certain things. So I've come into the front room, and I've literally seen my oldest jump from a chair, run across the table in the middle of the front room and jump over to the other chair.
Oy, oy.
But as he's landed, I've just been standing in the doorway, just looking at him. And he was looking at me, and he was probably expecting me to tell him off. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to be like, what was we doing as kids? If you can't get caught, you're gonna test that boundary. You understand? And so you can't scold them too much for just being kids, because we were all once kids.
Everything that you've done must have taught you certain kind of core principle lessons.
Yeah.
Is there an answer to the question, this much I've learned from, like, you know, these are the big things I've learned from life so far?
Yes, I would say. The biggest thing I've learned from life, from my own personal life, is keep learning. Keep learning. You're never a finished product. Keep learning. Keep opening up yourself to different experiences, because that can also build you in ways you couldn't have imagined. And enjoy life. Enjoy life and enjoy where you're currently at. Don't moan and groan, because it's just a season. It's just a season, and every season passes. And by being happy in a season, it helps you bloom into your next season. So just be not content, still strive for where you're going, but be happy in the process.